in my 5th grade class at school. You guys get to be the very first class to make our clay project this year. So you're lucky to be the first ones to start out, and I hope that you guys are going to have fun. Here is what you are making for your very first clay project this year. We are going to be making some Japanese teacups. Now what I have here are some real teacups, so they are actually shiny. You can drink out of these. The ones that we are making, you can't drink out of. And I'm hoping that my parents at home see this, because when your kid brings us home and says, hey mom, put some tea in this, you gotta say no, because it doesn't work that way. The kind of clay we're using at school has not been fired. It is not a ceramic, and you cannot drink or eat out of it. You will get sick and your stuff will fall apart. So please, 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 I've told you 1,000 times in class, do not eat or drink out of anything that we make in art class. It's not safe. Next year, when we have a kiln, we'll be able to make some stuff you can eat and drink out of, but this year, nah, don't do it. So these kind are actually ceramic. They are shiny. You can drink out of these. Here's one, and all the ones that I have in class that you guys can see when you come in, these are all actually from Japan, and I've got these really pretty designs on them. Unlike the teacups that we have here in the U.S., they do not have a handle, so you can't put your pinky out with these. They have no handle. They are a cylinder shape. Here's another one. This one's hand-painted. Pretty sure this one was hand-painted by my brother-in-law because it has his initials on the bottom. He lives in Japan, and I think he made this one and sent it over to us. And a lot of times they have these little flower designs on them. Yours does not have to have exactly flowers. This one's even got some mountains, ship, some geometric designs, which are pretty awesome. It's got a bird. These are really cool things, and you can check these out more when we're in class together. So what we're going to be making, we're making a replica of one of these cups, and ours are going to be out of our white air dry clay. Now the kind of clay that I get, if you guys are trying to do this at home, I get it from Hobby Lobby, and it's not too expensive. For $10 you can get a giant block of this stuff, and it will last you for as many projects as you want to do. So it's a pretty good investment. This is air dry clay, so you don't need an oven, you don't need a kiln, you just set it out and it dries magically all by itself. So this is what we're using in class. Once it dries, we'll be able to add some paint to it and some designs to it. But today, the only part that we're getting to is making it. So what we're working with, we are using our white air dry clay, and I've given you guys, if you're in class with me, about a handful of this, so it fits pretty much in the size of my palm. And I want to turn this thing into a sphere or into a ball. So you know that clay is kind of hard until you start to work with it. It really loosens up once you get the moisture and the warmth from your hands on it. So I'm just kind of squishing this thing back and forth until it feels like it's a little bit softer. And then I'm going to roll it. I'm pressing down and rolling at the same time so I can turn this thing into a ball or sphere shape. Not like a snake, but all around. So the one that we're making today, we're making that Japanese teacup, and it's going to be a cylinder shape. So we're using something called the pinch pot method. Right now, I've got kind of a lumpy sphere. It's okay if it's a little bit lumpy. I'm going to take my thumb, and I'm going to shove it into the sphere. And I'm going to kind of form it all around my finger. So what I'm doing, I'm just squishing this thing down all around my thumb. Smoothing it out as I go. So I see it's got a little crease there. I'm just going to pull and make it nice and smooth. Now I can, once I get it all into a nice sphere the way I like it, twist it, pull it off my thumb, and then I'm just going to set it on the table. So what I'm doing now, I know you can't see, I'm just squishing it so it gets a good flat bottom to it. This is going to let it set up like this. So I'm going to keep pushing this thing outward. So I am pinching. This is the pinch of the pinch pot. I am pinching this so that the walls are getting thinner and the inside is getting wider. So I'm widening the opening and just going in circles and pinching this thing. I even want to get way down here at the bottom so I can make sure that that's all pinched out. I'm going to keep on going with this until I get the shape that I want. Now, if you're in class with me, you've got those teacups at your table that you can look at to see the kind of shape and the style that we're looking for. Yours might not get quite as big as that, and that is okay, because ours are going to be a little bit smaller version of that. So now I'm still pinching. I want to make sure that my top, see how my top kind of pokes up over here, pokes up over here? I really want it to be about the same size all the way around. So I could even put this down on my table and gently give it a little squish to see if I can flatten out that edge. That's where I squished it onto the table. So I flattened it out a little bit, and I'm going to keep on pinching and smoothing as I go. So it just got a lot smoother. Anywhere I see a wrinkle, I'm going to drag my finger and smooth it out. Now some of you, I don't know why this is, some of our friends have skin that dries out a little faster than others. So if your clay is starting to dry out because your skin is maybe sucking all the moisture out of it, we do have our bottles at our table. Remember, do not spray the clay. That'll make a huge goopy muddy mess. Give your hands one spray. Rub your hands together. That way your hands will be a little bit more wet, but we don't get a big muddy mess. Because remember, it is made out of dirt. You don't want a super muddy mess. So I'm just going to keep working with this thing until I get it all nice and smooth the way that I like it. And then, once it's all done, I'm going to go ahead and call mine done, even though you guys are going to spend way more time on yours and make it look way more awesome than mine. I'm going to take a stick, which I don't have here. I'm going to use a pencil. Don't use my pencils. You have sticks. And I'm going to put my initials, which are the first letter of my first name, first letter of my last name, and I just scratched them into the bottom here. Once it's done, I'm going to set it over to the side, let it dry, and it's going to take, this clay dries pretty fast. It's going to take maybe a day until it's nice and hard and we can paint it. If you're in class with me, the next time you come back to class, we will be painting these things. So watch out for part 2 on how to paint these things. We're going to try to stick to the Japanese motif of flowers, geometric designs. I love this blue cup. This might be my favorite cup. The one with all the pretty little geometric designs. It's got a ship, it's got mountains, it's got all kinds of stuff happening in this one. I really like that cup. So we'll talk more about what kind of stuff you can put on your cup in the future. All right, guys, that's it. That's part 1. Stay clean.